Concordia has become the kind of university that it is. I believe a stellar university, precisely because we are the kind of people that like meeting with each other. We like each other's company, and we like to grow in knowledge and in wisdom. You all, I'm sure, have heard, because we've been trying to advertise this everywhere, that Concordia's current students rank this institution as one of the best teaching institutions in the whole country. We have only one other university in this whole country that has that same ranking. On the other hand, we also have graduates from our university who, looking back, say not only was this the best experience of their lives, but this was the best preparation for their lives. And the reason our students come to this conclusion is that they've been drawn together with staff, with teachers, with administrators, into a single mission, a single resolve, a single passion. And that passion is the pursuit of true wisdom, a wisdom that begins with the recognition that each of us lives our lives beneath the eyes of God. And the awesome recognition that every one of us is accountable to this God for all our thoughts and all our words and all our deeds. The fear of the Lord is the beginning of wisdom. That's our motto. It's not a motto for the faint of heart, even as attendance at a university really is not for the faint of heart. And so very few people actually pursue this course, because it is a journey that begins into a little bit of the unknown. One of the unknowns is, what will you ever do with a university degree? Especially liberal arts undergraduate university degree. Somebody once told me, he's sitting up there, anything you want. That's the point. Because what you gain here is the kind of wisdom that, if you weigh it out, has the same basis that a man named Augustine, and after him a chap named St. Anselm, said, we have faith-seeking understanding that ultimately leads to wisdom that cannot be experienced or garnered anywhere else. I was looking at some quotations on universities, and it's one of those web search things, right? Came across a little essay by Arthur Holmes, and in this essay he reflects upon somebody else who wrote an essay on universities, a guy named Cardinal Newman. Some of us know about Cardinal Newman, who wrote a tract called The Idea of the University. And he says the following as he answers why a university like Concordia needs to exist. He argues that only here, at such a university, will you receive an education that cultivates the creative and active integration of faith and learning, of faith and culture. This is its unique task in higher education today. Such a university, like Concordia, will not settle for a militant attack on secular learning and science and culture as though we have something better going. So if we are, or as if there were a great gulf fixed between the secular and the sacred, all truth is God's truth, no matter where it is found, and we can thank God for all of it. And that's why we're here. And when you come to understand that there is such a thing as truth, not in relative terms but absolutely, the path of wisdom is open to you. And it is a path that leads you further than mere pursuit of ideas, the gathering of facts, the analysis of data. It's a path that leads to an education that will carry you through life, and more importantly to me, not just through this life, but also into eternity. Because Concordia is the kind of university that is mandated to give you just that much more. More in terms of Concordia's professors who desire to give you so much of what is a passion for themselves. The subjects that they teach, the lives that they have started to live because of the passion that they have. More because Concordia will provide you with a kind of university education that is a covenant, not just a contract. If you don't know what a covenant is, take a religion class or a business class. It's kind of, they deal with covenants too. It's transformation, not just transaction. True engagement, not just some superficial experience. More because Concordia will open your eyes to the fact that you actually have a vocation, a calling, and somebody does that calling and puts you into a certain place. And that place will not only serve you, but will also serve your neighbor, your society, and your world. It will actually serve your God himself, even as we're called upon to love the Lord our God with all our hearts, mind, and strength, and our neighbors as ourselves. Concordia is a university where you will come to learn that there are more things in heaven and on earth than are dreamt of in your philosophy. Now, I heard that at the introduction to some Iron Maiden song. But anybody heard that there too, right? I think Vincent Price actually says that. Now, somebody instructed me, some university type, actually Shakespeare wrote that, and some guy named Hamlet actually said it. However, what we have come to learn that there is indeed much more in heaven and on earth than we can imagine. There is always more. And that more is what Concordia leads you towards exploring, thinking, and learning about, as I ended a preposition. Anyway, if you have attended our student orientation, you would have heard our Associate Vice President, Academic, and Dean of Arts and Science. I got it right, Catherine, today. I wrote it down. I keep getting all these things wrong. Dr. Catherine Eddy explained to you what it means to have a liberal arts, a liberal education in general. It's nothing to do with politics. It has everything to do with freedom, with that which sets us free. And it means that study and scholarship don't shackle you to books and term papers and assignments, but actually open up doorways to new worlds, ideas, and revelations. So remember that. When you're in midterm week, you're not being shackled to your books. You are embarking on a path of freedom. Remember when you're writing that paper and the words don't come to you, that this is the path to freedom. You are not being bound here. All right? Just keep that in mind. So your job in the next 1, 2, 3, or 4 years, if you want to stay 5 or 6, you can do that in a master's program or your undergraduate program. It's your choice. Go through the doorways that are open to you. Think about the big questions in the universe you inhabit. Seek after knowledge, pursue wisdom, because the education you will receive here at Concordia will allow you to ask questions, to get answers to questions that you've always had. Because, believe it or not, there's some really smart people here. People who have spent their lives dealing with just the kind of questions that you might have. That as soon as you start looking into the answers to your questions in the obvious departments, there is always something more to look towards, to learn. And what happens at Concordia, all fields of knowledge come together. They all come together into what is a university, bringing things together to the one, beneath the eyes of the one who brings us together. So when you look around this campus, you'll find ever more doors opening into areas that you go through and that you can enter. But the other thing about Concordia that I have experienced over 20 years is that you never go through these doors alone, because the rooms are, first of all, never empty. And Concordia is small enough because that you can commiserate with your fellow students, with your professors, and sometimes even with me when they let me out. It's the mutual conversation, the consolation, the dialogue that you can experience at a smaller university to chew through the things that you heard about in class that really help you to grow, and help you to grow individually as a person, grow as a community of learning. And I hope that that experience of being gathered together, whether it's around a cup of coffee in one of our clubs, the philosophy, English, whatever clubs we happen to have, you will remember that as one of the best times in your life, because this was the foundation for your whole house of learning that you will build over your lifetime. So, don't neglect meeting in class, especially in Tegler, great place to meet. In the cafeteria, which is also fine, up in the mezzanine, and especially in chapel, or any other place where true learning can happen. Because there really is always more to be given to you, and thanks be to God. Have a blessed and enriching year at Concordia. Let us pray.